She-Ra and the Princesses of Power had plenty of morally complex characters. You have Catra, Hordak, Entrapta, and others. However, throughout the series there was one character who was consistently evil. In fact, the only times she was genuinely ever nice on screen were in flashbacks and her death.
Look at you. You're a mess. Go get yourself cleaned up. You're no longer children. I have high hopes for you both.
I am obviously talking about Shadow Weaver, who is unfortunately the closest thing to a mother figure for most of those in a horde. Shadow Weaver was an abusive monster, and most of the characters and the fandom were practically waiting for her to die.
How did the rebellion lose so many of our finest members? And yet we're still stuck with you.
However, for many people, including myself, her death didn't feel like a relief. Why is that? Let's discuss. First, it's important to discuss why this was so shocking. Because you can say someone's bad, but I think it's better if you back it up. So, here is Shadow Weaver's list of bad actions: repeated abuse and manipulation of Catra, Adora, and Glimmer. She ate her fellow teachers. She constantly tried to defy Hordak for her own gain. She attempted to murder Catra. She planted the idea in Glimmer's head that led to the events of Season 5. The list goes on. She was consistently awful, yet her death made many people feel differently. Was it a redemption? What was it? Let's figure that out. Is it a redemption? I personally don't think so, and that's for two reasons. The first reason is because she was drunk.
In the finale, there's this part where, like, everyone leaves Shadow Weaver at home to go fight Horde Prime because she's terrible. And then Catra comes back and is like, I need your help. And Shadow Weaver's just sitting there with, like, a cup. I gave Lorraine, who voices Shadow Weaver, who's amazing, I gave her the note. I was like, I want Shadow Weaver to kind of be like kind of wine drunk here. Like, she's just, everyone left her at home and she's just kind of depressed. So it's great. So now you just know that Shadow Weaver had a little bit of a buzz going through the entire end of the show.
I find this more hilarious than anything, but it also makes you think, would she have sacrificed herself if she was sober? It is very possible she wouldn't have done what she did if she was sober. Second reason is because, if you think of it, she kinda did it for her own gain. She wanted Adora to get to the heart, but that wouldn't have been able to happen if the monster didn't get defeated, because she knew that Adora would not have been fine with leaving Catra behind. Also, Adora couldn't get to the heart by herself anyways. She was in a situation where she was the only one who could do it and still allow Adora to get to the heart. Everyone talks about this line.
You're welcome.
And I'll talk about that in a second, but first I want to talk about the line that stood out to me more.
I'm so proud of you, Catra.
First things first, when I first heard this, it took me a second to process, mainly because up to this point she had made it very clear she did not like Catra.
Insolent child. I've come to expect such disgraceful behavior from you. You have never been anything more than a nuisance to me.
After the initial shock, two other thoughts crossed my mind. First one was, the only time she was ever nice to Catra was while drunk. It is very possible that if she were sober, she would have never said those nice things. My second thought was...
And it doesn't feel like a relief to finally be seen. It feels mean. Like, oh... Turns out that you knew what I wanted, and you waited until the very last moment to give it to me.
So now it feels less like a redemption and more like cruelty. Further driving us home is this line.
You're welcome.
To me, that feels more like manipulation than anything. It's subtle, but it still feels like manipulation.
You're like me! No, you're like me.
You're welcome. You're welcome for saving you guys from a monster. You're welcome for making it so that you guys can still get to the heart, which was my idea for my own gain and could possibly kill Adora in the process. You see the issue? This is less analysis of the scene and more theorizing, but let's discuss the potential effects on Adora and Catra caused by her death. First off, it's important to note that as soon as Shadow Weaver told Catra how proud she was, Catra started crying and seemed very upset at the fact that she was about to lose her.
I'm so proud of you, Catra.
No! No! Catra?
However, However, in previous seasons, Catra probably would have still felt, some form of grief, but not nearly as much. Catra finally hearing some form of love from Shadow Weaver obviously complicated her feelings, and seemingly did the same for Adora, as she is also seen crying. All I'm saying is that because of when and how the scene played out, I think Shadow Weaver's death affected them more than it would have in an earlier season. And who knows? Maybe if we get a movie, we'll get to see more of that.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like or dislike if you didn't like it. Leave your honest feedback. I'm curious. Also leave a comment if you can. I know YouTube just loves to disable my comments. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when I upload. I have started doing a lot more video essays, so if you like this type of video, I'm making more of them. I also do gaming, kind of, occasionally. I stream on Twitch, and then I just upload the archives onto here on YouTube sometimes. And yeah, it's just a fun old time. Okay, end card stuff. Goodbye.